Hey, we all get a little cranky when we're hungry. RuinousInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new modded Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. SFO Grimhammer 3 Ogres. SF Ogres, if you will. The big boys were chosen by community vote as usual, and I personally decided on Skrag the Slaughterer, as he is the only Ogre Lord that I have never done. But before we have everyone for dinner, the housekeeping. Mod-wise, all mod info is in the description below. As usual, plug-wise, check out our Discord and join the Ruinous host. Consider joining the channel or becoming a Patreon to get access to perks like exclusive votes, or support the channel by purchasing your games through our affiliates in the description below. Lastly, big shout out to the modders, and as always, the biggest of shout outs to you guys for your comments and support. Anyway, let's take a look at how SFO changes the faction. So, faction-wise, Skrag gets faction-wide effects for offerings to the Great Maw active at the same time. Basically, meat per turn for army buffs in every individual army. We'll see it more in game. He does like his butchers, so the more of them he has, the higher level they start with, which will be quite useful as we will need plenty of them to support our armies. No colonization cost is interesting, as it means the game will incentivize us raising settlements and then recolonizing them afterwards, wherever possible. Speed plus 20% is a massive increase, and being an enemy territory, which will mean pretty much at all times. Speed being a very, very strong stat. Now, this is very strong. Most importantly, though, we have a unique unit for Skrag, the Ogre Hungerers, which are a kind of mini butcher support squad type unit that likes to spend time in melee and then heal the units around them. We'll check them out as soon as we can get them on field. Now, Lord-wise, for Scraggy himself, he gets cheaper offerings to the Great Maw, so pretty much his army can keep those buffs active at all times. Devastating flanker on his signature units, which are Gorgers, and cheaper units for the hungriest of the hungry. The Gorgers themselves, but also Sabertusks, Blood Vultures, Yetis, and Stonehorns as well. Last but not least, Gorger Onslaught, the ability to summon a unit of Gorgers on field, which is extremely powerful on its own, and I believe can be upgraded further to increase at the very least the number of uses and maybe the range or something as well. It's pretty darn good either way. Setting-wise, we're going with very hard as per usual, as I find that to be the sweet spot, and keep in mind that an SFO hard is the equivalent of vanilla. Very hard. I have the AI stats modifier dialed up to the max as always, and that's pretty much all I got. All glory to the algorithm. Let's eat.
Sooner or later, everything ends up in the Great Maw.
That it does, little fella. I love how creepy Skrag is. I feel like you could put him in, like, half of the spooky franchise out there, and he would fit right in. I mean, look at him. Gotta love it. Anyway, very briefly, how they play. So, ogres, their armies march on their stomachs. We need meat, and we get it by killing things and presumably butchering them, and then using them for a number of things as well, like buffs for our army, and for the upgrades for our war camps, as those, surprisingly, as I recall, yeah, not for technologies. I guess maybe it would have been too strong if it was technologies tied to meat, although I could have made some capstones with some high, meat requirements. But anyway, I digress already, man. I started digressing very fast in this particular episode. Anyway, our armies can use offerings to the Great Maw as well, which is part of Skrag's thing. These will give additional buffs for the army at the cost of, you guessed it, meat per turn, while Skrag also goes through the path of the Butcher and giving further buffs faction-wide, depending on how many of these are active throughout the entire faction. We've obviously got the access to the Ogre Camps mechanic, which is kind of like a raiding area buffing semi-settlement, which allows us to recruit, and nowadays can actually be packed up and moved, unlike the early days when it was a pretty awful mechanic. Ugh, don't remind me. We've got the bounties from other factions, which I guess we'll unlock in about 2 turns, which just gives us some bonuses depending on if we can achieve their objectives fighting for some factions, as Ogres have a bit of a mercenary streak. And lastly, our characters have the big names thing, which is kind of like a set of requirements, and that allows them to unlock additional traits, which can, by the looks of it, be pretty nice. When in battle against an army of trolls, use the Maw spell 3 times. Okay, so we have to fight some greenskins most likely here. Have all 4 offerings to the Great Maw active at once. Okay, we can do that immediately. End your turn in starving. Oh, we might actually be able to do both of these immediately. All right, well, let's get started on that then. Let us go to offerings of the Great Maw, pop them all in. That's all 4 at once. Now, I guess the question is, do we need to last the turn? Yeah, it looks like we need to last the turn. All right, fair enough. Well, let's get to butchering our first border prince's jerks. And what do we have here? Slender for an ogre. Unit mass minus 25%, huh? It's kind of interesting. I mean, though losing mass on the Stonehorn isn't so great, but there's some decent stuff here. What do you have in terms of big names? Win a battle against the Greenskins, already planning it. Belly Slapper, not so bad for affecting allies in range. Directional Armor for Stonehorn and Thunder Tusk, eh? I wonder if this only applies to Lord, or only applies to the units, or whether it applies to the heroes as well. Not that it matters over much right now. You, join Skrag's army. Skrag, do you have anything interesting in terms of stances? By the looks of it, you do not, just the regular stance. And therefore, we will get our first fight in regular stance. And oh wow, this is just sad. These guys are gonna have a very bad time of it. Let's eat.
So much meat you send us. No more. Such a feast still be.
Well, I wouldn't quite say it's so much meat as yet, as it's rather small first army, but Skrag looks very happy nonetheless. Look at him, he's just a joyful fella. Anyway, we are going to probably have a pretty easy time of it. It's the first battle after all, and it's usually designed so that it can't be lost. Admittedly, the swordsman will be stronger than our basic Noblars, but everything else, I'm sure, is gonna be fine. Skrag's gonna take a few crossbow bolts, but he'll dodge them as best he can. Just want to get close enough to summon our first set of Gorgers. Since it's a summoned unit and we don't care about the damage that they will inevitably take, we will just drive them through the enemy ranks, and I do mean that, and we will drive them through the first unit of swordsmen and into the enemy backliners. Skrag will at the same time use his pot overturn, I don't know. The thing is he's got a little mini vortex here. Simmering pot. There we go. Which doesn't do all that much damage by the looks of it, but annoys the enemy a teensy bit. And our Noblars and our Ogre Bulls will close the distance and start mincing their way through the enemy. Skrag will get one of his casts off, and did he miscast that? Yeah, he did take a little bit of damage to him, but overall, and not a big concern, while the Gorgers have arrived and closed the distance together with the Saber Tusks hitting the enemy in the back line. We might keep a few Saber Tusks in this army just because we do get them cheaper with Skrag, though admittedly at the same time it's not like they're particularly expensive units. I don't want to overdo the whole Gorger thing, but I think we should probably have like a team of Skrag's unique units, whatever they were called, Hungerers, to lead a few units of Gorgers. So maybe we'll do 3 units of Hungerers to 6 units of Gorgers, and then just fill the rest with Yetis and Stonehorns and whatever else we feel like putting in there, as well as putting it in the pot. Anyway, the humans are done. They're all going in the pot, and we're going to make sure to chase down as many of them as possible, because I'm pretty sure you get greater meat rewards in the same way that you get greater laborer counts for the Chaos Dwarfs by, you know, hunting the enemy down. But I'll do the rest of that off screen. Alright, there we go. Easy little first fight, but, well, that's about as expected. Oh, wow, 131 meat from that? Oh, that's not bad. Well, that's a... Well, I guess we could use it to immediately build something in our camp, or just transfer it. I was just thinking that this would not allow us to be in the starving state to unlock that big name for Skrag, which I guess we do want to do. It is a lot of meat. And I think we'll take it. Go for it. Process the meat. In the early game, it's a lot more important. Eventually, we'll reach a point where it isn't super relevant, but that point is a long, far away from here. It costs 75 meat to build the basic pig jousting fields. We want to get pigback riders fairly quickly, though at the same time... Oh, there's an island right there. Hopefully Black Buckthorn doesn't immediately take it. If he doesn't, that'd be great. Also, we should probably pick a tech. Let us immediately go for the dinner gong in order to get the growth up and running. Our settlements are only going to be able to grow to tier 3 anyway, so we don't need to worry about anything else. And then let's go for the grazing pastures to immediately generate more meat faster. You camp, I guess, can stay there. Scraggy, since, actually just out of curiosity, yeah, okay. Those didn't get completed as yet, and then you, what do you need to do? Win a battle against greenskins, reach 15, win a battle with 3 stone horns or thunder tusks. Okay, yeah, tier 5 units, that's gonna be a while. And win a battle against an army containing 3 monster units. More likely against, probably the greenskins than the manlings here. Anyway, we're off to Matorka now. And what do we have here? Pyrrhic victory, really? Why? Is it a minor settlement? What, is it tier 2? No, it's tier 1. Odd. Well, I guess we could fight another real quick one, rather than take unnecessary damage. Yeah, go for it. It'll take like a minute.
Upon your children, Great Maw. Behold their endless hunger.
Alright, when he said, look upon your children, like he paused, like I was like, wait a second, what? What are you talking about? But he was talking to the Maw, which, you know, Skrag does in the lore, so it does make sense that he'd be talking to it. Anyway, we've got another small army against us. Obviously, it is the first episode, so the battle starts small, but with every battle, the number of troops should increase, and the battles will become harder and harder. Once again, Skrag will move forward and summon a few of those Gorgers on field to rush directly at the enemy. Since the enemy only has 1 unit of range, however, that's the unit that we will be heading towards. As range units are quite the threat to Ogre Bulls and to Gorgers, and basically our entire army type, and a lot of our different unit types, so we gotta be careful with them. At least until we get artillery, and Ogres do have some of the best artillery in the entire game, so we'll be enjoying those tremendously. Anyway, Skrag leads his Ogre Bulls into the fray, tipping that pot over the heads of a few of the enemy's swords, while our Gorgers move around and get ready to flank the enemy and make use of that devastating flank. Well, I guess they don't have devastating flanker yet, but they will eventually, so we gotta get into the practice of it. Nobblers fighting nicely together with their Ogre Masters just to sort of prevent too many units and getting into each other's way. And perhaps in this particular campaign, I'll try to do a little bit better at having a nicer balance of a Nobbler and just generally, or Hobgob-Merc units, rather than overdoing the whole ogre thing. A, because it'll make the armies feel a little bit more realistic. B, because it'll make the battles a little bit more challenging. And C, because it just annoys me when units get in each other's way. Anyway, the main enemy stack is pretty much destroyed. There is a unit of pikes running around, and we are annoying them tremendously. First, we dismembered them in order to slow them down, and then we make them lose about half of their HP to Infinity Dagger spam from the hunters there. Afterwards, we charge right through the hunters with our Gorgers, and just as the Gorgers move on and the Saber-Tusk hit that poor pikeman unit in the back, tear them to shreds, and just like the rest of the army. Beautiful. With that, the victory is once again ours, and I will once again make sure we get all the meat we've been hankering for off screen. Slaneshi giggle. Right, there we go. First fights are always super easy, so hardly a surprising little result there. Decisive victory for us, and out of curiosity, so we get a little bit more meat, but less money from raising than we do for sacking, even though our faction does seem to be incentivized to raise, presumably to get the bonus meat. Alright, well, we know that, but for this one, we have the quest to occupy it, so I think we'll just occupy rather than raise, plus I don't really want to waste the extra turn, especially in the super early game. Oh, I guess we could loot and occupy. Ah, but then we'd have to pay for repairs and the deal with the public order. Oh, actually, speaking of the public order. Huh. I wonder, if we leave the settlement from here, would we immediately be able to pop into that island? I guess we're about to find out. Anyway, capture a settlement. Yes. Free Iron Curse icon. What is this? Great Skull. Nothing crazy. Maintain control of eastern border. Prince is working on it. Game working on it. What do we have here? I guess we gotta start with Bull Gorger. And gotta get into Blood Greed and into probably Bone Crusher to be able to do decent bit of damage to blobs. Fast as we can, I mean. Anyway, you... I mean, I guess you could get the Vanguard deployment first. We'll want that increased mobility ASAP as well. Do we want to transfer any of our stuff over? This is a mysterious sign. Well, either way, go here. Ah, we are not in range. Darn. I was hoping we could pop out of there and immediately grab the island, but it looks like you have to actually move, not be... I guess the game doesn't count moving out of the settlement as actually moving in this manner. Which is a bit of a shame, but what can you do? Alright, fair enough. What we want to do now, I guess, is... No, not unit upgrades. Meat transfer. We'll want to transfer enough so that we're back to starving next turn, basically. Oh, wait, does this do anything for our recruitment? No. Huh, you'd think an army that had a ton of meat would be a little bit better at recruiting stuff, but apparently not the case. We have Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. I guess we'll get another one of these. We'll want to build Gorgers fairly quick, but we can always hunt the regular Ogres to another army later on. We'll do a couple of these, and we'll do Noblars. There we go. And, ooh, wait, do we not have access to Butchers? Bruisers, rather. We do, we just don't have the money for them. Knight's Duty. Oh, that's not bad. Nagarond? What does this do? Weapon damage can cause fear. Basically a little bit more damage in melee combat winning, but it's not that much. Assimilation Cafe. That's quite interesting. I like the mass and the missile resistance increase, but enabled if not moving won't apply to Skrag's army type. There will probably be other armies that are more likely to hold the line. Seems like the Knight's Duty is better, but the -5 melee loss is actually fairly severe in this particular case, as Ogre armies generally have pretty low melee defense. Do we have any way to increase the... just see here. Nobblers, Ravenous Fighters, Gorgers, so they get increased melee attack, weapon strength, and stuff, but I presume that they won't get anything for their melee defense now. And just armor up and missile resistance up. Still, it seems like a really nice trait, so we should probably grab that. How much money do we need to get this Bruiser? I'd like you to join... We're just short. I guess we can get one less... Yeah, we'll just recruit the other Nobbler next turn. Alrighty. Anything else we gotta do this particular turn? We got Thief Snatches that want to be friends, and I don't think we really care about them. Again, we probably will want to fight some of these greenskins. We will, however, maybe want to get some Arachnarok Flingers from some of them, though... I mean, some greenskin units do work decently well with Ogrish units, but so does, frankly, a lot of factions units, so... Ogres get around. It is not cheaper to global recruit. I just wanted to double check. Alright, well that sounds like an end turn to me, minus the meat transfer. Oh wait, but to transfer the meat is going to cost us money. How much money? A curiosity. Oh, it's extremely cheap. Okay, so we need this to presumably go into starving. So if we have 79, we should drop to... Oh, starving is to 54. Alright, fine. 90. There we go. And we will lose 40 per turn, which will drop us to 50, so we should be right in starving. I don't like that reduction in casualty or punishment rate, but one battle should, you know, get us back to where we need to be. So we'll transfer it like this. Oh, wait, there's another upkeep. Yeah, whatever, just do it. Yeah. Alright, we should still have enough
Do what I say.
to grab the Assimilation Bretonia one, though again the melee defense reduction concerns me, but I'd like to have this bruiser, and if it goes into another army, it goes into another army. Oh. You also give Murderous Charge for Crushers in combination with the Knight's Duty, so they get Glorious Charge and Murderous Charge. And the Black Powder aplenty for the Lead Belchers. Huh. Alright, could be nice for a sort of mixed army with a decent amount of Chargers and get a few Lead Belchers in there. I don't see why not. Alrighty. Also, let's get that Iron Curse icon on Skrag immediately. I fear that he's going to be targeted by a lot of range stuff until he gets access to regeneration. For now, though, we end the turn. Big name unlocked. I assume one big name. I assume that also didn't count as ending the turn at starving, but I guess we're going to find out in a second. I guess it'll depend on whether... End the turn in starving. So I guess we had to have below... Yeah, I should have probably put it even further, but we can always transfer more and it'll be fine. At the end of the day, if it doesn't do that for this particular turn, then maybe we can still make use of the casualty or punishment rate, and that's still a good thing. Alright, let's see if Black Buckthorn steals this mysterious island right from under our noses. He bypassed it, and works for me. This is an SFO thing. I used to do time of maneuvers, but lately I've just been doing time of balance to get no additional buffs, as let's face it, the player doesn't really need them. Anyway, Mysterious Island, we'll start with you. We'll go for Fortified Grog in order to get the Curse of Cannibalism. It ain't a curse, we're ogres. And Blessing of Cannibalism. Actually, it's not even a blessing, it's just regular. Normality. Anyway, Scraggy, go to Matorka, please. Actually, just out of curiosity, do we have a channeling stance? No. Wait, how do we channel? Local province wins and characters? Wait, how do ogres channel? It's only through post-battle loot, I take it? Eh. Alright, fair enough. Unless there's something at camp that gives us that as well, which wouldn't be so bad. Do we need to... Yeah, we need to consume points in order to go into raiding stance. A bit of a shame that, but that's okay. Ooh, you know what we should do? We should uncollect the income here to increase the growth. You can switch off to regular in camp, since we don't want to be raiding our own territory. You can train the army. Though the -5 melee defense is going to be concerning, hopefully, for now at least, the Curse of Cannibalism will counteract that a little bit. Then, you will still... Wait, starving is now 0 to 74, so in theory we could just transfer a slight amount and still end the turn in starving. This unlocked us snacks. Ah, so Skrag now has healing. Yeah, we should get this. It's +5 meat per turn and meat gained from battle, so we should pretty much do this immediately. Alright, we will transfer a little bit more. 74. I assume that's based on the number of units we have. Actually, let's get a few more nobblers in here. Like so, like so. I don't want to go too heavy on ogres in the early game especially, but, you know, they'll get in each other's way constantly, so there isn't any real need. Also, what does this give us? Campaign movement range, wins of magic cost, meat gained from battles. Ooh. Just for the meat gained from battles alone means we should have as many of these up and running as possible. What we should also do is double check whether we have any interesting lords. Are they as expensive at the camp? Let's see. Seafood diet. Nothing too crazy there. Hello. Epicurean, you get buffs for nobblers, but as I recall, these guys are better for... Not bad. Hello. Now, the casualty or punishment rate is unfortunate, but 15% upkeep reduction. I gotta go with the Ogre Paymaster. I'm gonna get you on field immediately. And we'll just need to counteract that. I assume that Butchers will allow us to get what we want, and we need... Oh. How much did the Nobblers cost to recruit, incidentally? We should probably get started on the Butcher building, because this will allow us to recruit them. Yeah. And Skrag has additional capacity, so... We'll, hello. Weather... Oh my, oh... We should get this guy on field as soon as possible. Weather the storm for the entire army. Missile strength, missile resistance rather out of melee is going to be very good. There's some good stuff here. Alrighty, what we will then need is to build another one of these bullpens, or upgrade the bullpen in order to increase capacity. Which we can do here as soon as this camp is up to the next level, but we don't have enough right now. I guess we could then build the pigback rider building here. I'm sure the paymaster will need it. Like so, pig jousting fields, and... okay, there's nothing else. Alright, then, Mr. Gragbat, I would like to see something. You have +5/+5 for all units. Upkeep production -10, which will be with the 15, and we could probably move further into Quartermaster and Renown and Feared and basically get this guy, that, if not quite free army. An army that is very, very cheap. And by the looks of it, you have nothing specific for Noblar buffs, meaning we could actually use a Tyrant for that particular purpose. And actually, that probably would be better as a Tyrant, because upkeep reductions would be better on expensive units, because, you know, cheap units, who cares, right? Anyway, I think that's it. Let's end the turn. Not much to do here. Then we head for Akendorf. We do want the other pasture there as well. More butchers, more meat, etc. More... mass faction-wide? Ooh, Ogres must be one of the factions that have faction-wide buffs from their trade goods. Yes, indeed. Leadership power +10. Alright, well, that means less allies, more killing everybody, and taking all the trade goods we possibly can. I certainly won't say no to it. We'll probably also want to pack up this camp and then get another one down there when we move down to the other of the Border Princes territories. Alright, Confederation Ironclad works in Scabby. Camp construction cost reduction, 11k treasury for raising or sacking. Wow, Death Gorge, you are really far. We are not moving down there right now. And then the other one is Armor of Destiny. All we have to do is eliminate Ungrel's Stoneheart. Turns to complete 16, though. Ungrel Stoneheart. That's a beast man, right? What's the likelihood that we actually get there before he dies? Low? It's a good reward, though. And what about here? Eliminate Blight 10 Scratch, who was not that far, but I don't know if I want to move into the Badlands. With Malagor, we had plenty of badlanding around, and... oh, wait, did you somehow make your... you got more meat, didn't you? Okay, we should just transfer everything after we take Akendorf, which incidentally is going to be something of a fight. Alright, fair enough. Go to Akendorf, please.
Into my meat cauldron.
Then I would like you to actually besiege it. I want to see if they're willing to sally out. I'm willing to waste the one turn on that, and then you can go in and reinforce. Nothing else that needs to be built. We got butchers in one turn. We got the camp, which can build nothing other... oh, actually, I lied. Income from raising settlements, income from sacking and looting settlements. This is upkeep for all forces in circle, and income generation. And post-battle loot. For 75, I gotta go with that. Well, this camp will be meatless shortly, but it is what it is. Alrighty, and I believe that's all we can do. So let's end the turn, let's hope that they sally out, and if they don't, well then they don't. We can also decline one of these. Oh, this is 30 turns from now? I think I don't care for the Blight 10 Scratch one. I'm gonna say decline this bounty. See if we get something better. Alright, end turn. There are a fair bit more Imperials than there were last turn, so I'd say there's a good chance that they sally out and actually give us a proper fight. Proper-ish fight, maybe. In case I spoke too soon. And if they don't sally out, well, then we'll just attack next turn. And by the looks of it, are we past the Border Princes? Yeah, they didn't sally out. Cowards. Didn't even want to get eaten. Come on. Oh, actually, there they were. I mean, they're still cowards, and they still didn't sally out, but not where I thought they would be. And, ooh. No. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, maybe I should have gone southward instead. But oh well, it's not like we really care all that much about our territories, or at the very least we haven't invested into Matorka. I hope you don't go for Kirkangazar instead. I guess what we could do is sack Akendorf with you then, and then book it on down to Matorka after we win this fight. What is this? Eliminate... what? Are you... what? Oh, two? To kill one guy. Okay, the game really wants us to kill this Ungrel Stoneheart guy. Alright, fine, we'll move up there and kill him. It's too good to pass up. Anyway, this has to be fought, and this is SFO, so it's going to take a little bit of effort. SF, go. Oh.
Unconsumed.
Alrighty, try not to interrupt Skrag here, but here we go. Thanks to the fact that Skrag can easily activate all of his abilities, we got that Stone Shatter, and we'll easily break through the walls. We don't have to wait out there while we sort of beat those walls down, which is tremendously useful. On top of that, we've got 3/4 of a stack now, and the enemy does as well, as the battle sizes will increase. Now, the Ogres increasing their numbers does mean that they will get in each other's way a lot more too, so they're going to be milling around this particular breach in the walls, partly until we get the next Stone Shatter up and running, and partly until we, well, just get through this particular breach. Whichever happens first, really. Skrag will summon off his first unit of Gorgers, and we're going to move them to the left flank, block as many of the enemy units as possible, and try to tear through those Pistoliers, as they are a fair bit of a threat to our units. Certainly don't want them firing into the low-armored units of Gorgers there. Love that melee attack, but basically no melee defense. And yeah, we will, like I said, probably move this Bruiser to another army, but I figure this is one that we will want to level, regardless of the loss of melee defense here. And admittedly, Skrag's army is going to have a lot of healing available to it over time, so eventually maybe that melee defense lack won't matter if we can just do sufficient damage, which the Gorgers, who have a lot going for them, can certainly do. Speaking of the Gorgers, they are making mincemeat out of all of these pikes and whatever that are defending the right flank, and on the left flank, our units are finally starting to stream in and join the fray against the enemy with those summoned Gorgers, in which we will get another set of on-field rather soon. We need somebody to knock out that mortar which has been firing away into our Nobbler blob. Very nice big brawl here, as the enemy seems to have gotten all of its units off of the walls and has moved them down below. I guess keeping them on the walls wouldn't have been particularly useful here anyway, as obviously we broke through rather quick. Alrighty, and the bounce power has rapidly shifted to 95, even perhaps more in our favor. Skrag is moving towards the enemy platform now to summon his second unit of Gorgers on the other side. And there they go, and they're going to charge that mortar, but it looks like as soon as we make it over the platform or over the barricade or whatever that building is, and the enemy realizes that they've no hope and will shatter. Although shattering against the Ogres doesn't really help you all that much, you're gonna get chased down because Ogres are considerably faster moving than regular infantry are. In fact, they move as fast as slow cavalry do, with 65 movement speed, about the same speed as a unit of Chaos Knights, for example, or perhaps Boar Boys, but either way. They'll chase down the infantry, and they'll get a few extra snacks. Gotta say that actually went reasonably well thanks to Stone Shatter and us not having to, you know, whack away at the gate for 8 million years. So, decisive victory, and we will sack the place, despite the province and stability cost and all that, just so that Skrag cannot waste his time here. We will keep the Nobbler Chief. Hey, can guard Thug Gut Slammer, and got a big name unlocked. Which one would that be? Guardian? Yeah, that'll help. Alright, heroes get that physical resistance. You will grab Akendorf for free. Like so. And we got a free Great Skull out of it as well, which we can give to Mr. Scraggy. Ooh, we have a commandment available. Control a growth campaign movement range. Got to go with that one. I do like the recruitment cost reduction as well, and crude ingenuity also gives us campaign movement range increase to ourselves as opposed to the -25, but I think in the early game the growth is going to be more important. Here we'll grab the grazing pastures real quick and I guess repair the place. I'm a little bit of I have some concerns about immediately getting attacked, but well, if we do, we do. And then Scraggy, I'm going to have you move into Matorka, and I'm going to hope that this guy cannot reach Karakangazar. Although I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alrighty. And issue Commandment 1, there's that Sword of Battle, and I guess more items for Scraggy. Alright, I don't like how we're moving further away from that guy that we gotta kill, but, you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, you're gonna go for Bone Crusher just so that we can do a little bit of damage. Then we'll grab Blood Greed for a little bit of healing for Skrag, and then we'll start moving through Inspiring Presence and all that. Still need to reduce to Starvation. Oh.
Gonna be overtime one day.
Let's just do cause attrition enemy armies in province. Oh, can do a little bit of attrition on you. That's good, I guess. Alrighty, well, let's transfer some meat. You could, in theory, recruit, but I'm not so sure that I want to do so right now. So, Scraggy, transfer meat and starve yourself, buddy. Sorry. You gotta do what you gotta do. Meat transfer to this place. So this puts us down to... I don't know, put it down to like 40? That should do it, I hope. Guess we're about to find out. I guess we could transfer from Gragbat as well. Although I'm not sure that we want to waste the money, but go for it. You know, actually, wait, if we transfer from Gragbat, we have 134 here. Nah, we still wouldn't have enough to get the tribal compound, unfortunately. Though, we would be able to get the feast table right now. What's the defenses of this? The base defenses are pretty low. You know what? Let's actually start filling Matorka camp up with just piles of Noblars. Just so that they can hold off basic garbage, hopefully. It's a little bit expensive, but everything in the camps is free, essentially, so why not, right? Alright, let's do that. Actually, I don't really like Noblar Flingers, to be perfectly honest. They get a little bit more range, but the Trappers are just better, so... Yeah, though of course we'll do like a Noblar and Hobgob Mercenary heavy army. The last time I played Ogres, that was the most fun army I had, so I'm definitely gonna want to do something similar, but obviously different, because I don't like to repeat army compositions too much. Anyway, I believe that's an end turn. Yes, yes. Diplomacy check. Clan Verms, they really want that non-aggression. Oh, they're fighting the Teeth Snatches, who also want the non-aggression. I guess we could non-aggress with them both for money, and just keep ignoring them. I wonder how Gorbad will feel about this. Frankly, I'm pretty sure all these guys are going to be dead shortly, so we'll just ignore them for now and non-aggress with them. If we wanted to, we could ally with the Imperials and stuff as well. You're willing to trade. You're fighting the Teeth Snatches. Gorbad, however, does not care about you. I don't care about the military access either. Take all of your money. Frankly, this weakens all of these factions, but again, it's not our problem. Crooked Moon Mutinous Kits will ignore because they're fighting everybody, and that's a good way to piss everybody off for effectively no reason. And Border Princess wants peace, and that's definitely not happening. Also, out of curiosity, I'm tempted to grab this Epicurean Tyrant to buff up Nobblers, start on that Nobbler-tastic army. I do want to double check if there's anything really interesting out of any of these guys. I do like that 25% mass on one of you. Hello. Weapon strength plus 20% for infantry units, which includes Ogre infantry. That's nice. Plus 1 unit of mercenaries to summon an extra unit. Oh. As usual, the paymasters do have a tendency to interest me. See, the thing about the problem with Epicurean is this. It's +6/+6, but the tyrants don't have a buff like this. So performance bonuses would give us actually a better buff anyway. And the tyrant forgoes it, but is obviously a stronger single entity lord. Kinda seems inferior. I do like the silver prepared one as well. I'm just kind of tempted to get a couple more of these guys on field, but maybe we'll wait a bit. End the turn for now. Upkeep production. Huh. Oh, these cost 20 per turn for you. I was gonna potentially move up to another one of these. Ooh, also, that just reminded me we should have access to butchers now. Flatulent. Swarm of Flies gives you nice little tiny mini Mortis Engine effect and a nice little debuff as well. It's not bad. Ingredient Taker, Ravenous Hunger for more heals for you. I do feel like Skrag should have some, passive ability. Great Maw. Charge resistance and spell resistance for all allies. Huh. That's quite interesting actually as well. Lord of the Heavens though. Not so sure I want that in this particular army. Casualty or punishment rate +4, Master Cook. That could counteract the negative, or at least partially, the negative replenishment that this guy has. might be a good idea. And another ingredient taker and another Rune Maw fattened one. I feel like, while it might be nice to give every single lore to Skrag, at the same time I feel like his own army should be spamming the Rune of the Great Maw, you know? Or the lore of the Great Maw rather than anything else. Though I guess the question is, do we want to go Ravenous Hunger or Fattened for the Rune Maw? Ravenous Hunger is an additional heal, and the nice thing about that is it also feels appropriate to be with Gorgers and stuff, even at the cost of the armor. So I think I'm gonna go with that. Just lorefully the better thing, even if this is, you know, functionally the better thing, if that made any sense. Anyway, Gragbat. We're gonna go with the Master Cook for you for the additional casualty or punishment rate. It's not much, but it's, well, it's not honest work, so I'm happy. Anyway, you are good. Okay, now we can end the turn. Lots of distractions, but hopefully that was the last of them. I do want that other butcher, but, well, until we have enough meat, no dice on that. Alright, now hopefully Skrag remains. Yes, big names unlocked. Beautiful. He's starving. Our boy is starving. Get him some meat, somebody. He's fading fast. Alright, let's see if Volmir Gossa can reach Kirik Angazar. I'm gonna be salty if he can. As the AI will always choose to annoy the player, even if it's a completely suicidal action. Like, it will sack a territory knowing that you have an army that will kill it. Okay, so it looks like he won't be able to reach Kirik Angazar, which I guess is good for us. Sounds like a new turn to me. Issue commandment, free sword of battle. We will capture 2 provinces and hello, what was that? Alright, Skrag, names, good. Growth, also good. Sword of battle, great. Earn 5 big names across all characters, should be easy enough. And an armor of fortune. Alright, so, Gragbat, I would like you to move towards Kirik Angazar and hopefully far enough away from the dwarfs such that they cannot attack you. I would prefer to get the dies for ourselves, but this is not the most important thing in the world. A and B, ooh, yeah, marble's pretty good, but we need to knock these guys out. Camp limit +1 from pottery, that's nice. Alrighty, what do we have here? +1 camp versus control, I'm gonna say +1 camp. It's in 4 turns, and this one we will most likely have to pack up as there will be no camp thusly at Zvorak. Scraggy. You can go to the edge of this territory, starving though you may be. And, ooh, wait, no, stop. Do we not get additional replenishment here? Actually, we have no replenishment because we're starving, but the camp should put us over, so we should hopefully be okay. Butcher with, okay, ingredient taker, you're going to join Gragbat. And then Butcher that's super hungry. Wait, no, oh, damn, I used the wrong one. You go join Scraggy. Skrag just moved slightly. There you go. And then Girth, Master Cook, you're going to join that. Oh, really? Were you out of range? Alright, well then screw you too, man. Screw you too. There you go here. Girth. Now, funnily enough, I guess we could put you both into Skrag's army for now and just level you up. Really not that weather the storm. Butcher. Alright, and we'll have to just keep an eye on the Great Maw ones for more ravenous ones. This is Skrag's army. Are you not able to join this army? What the heck? Oh, it's because I already accidentally... Yeah, okay. There's a thing where you can't do that twice in one turn, which is why I couldn't join this army. Anyway, Kirik Angazar is fine. We should upgrade Akendorf, though, because we'll want this thing upgraded. Unit mass faction wide. Yeah, we're going to need to actually defend these locations. It's kind of iffy, but it is what it is. And then you are up to 75 again, which means we could grab the Guts store. Actually, funnily enough, you're not in a bad position for us to attack Barak-Var, so maybe we would want to keep you there. I will consider it. Alright, for now we can end the turn, and then proceed to Zvorak, which will be fairly well defended by the time we're there. Though fortunately we're getting a fair bit stronger. And hopefully we maintain enough meat this turn to get out of the hungry state, or starving state. We'll drop by 40, but then we'll rise by 5, plus 4, plus... I guess we're gonna find out. 42. What'll it be after this? And Gragbat, again, has a fair bit. Just keeping him near Matorka camp will mean potential transfer of meat. And, oh, actually gonna attack us. Good for you, Mr. Valmir Gossa. I do now regret not giving Skrag the items before attacking, but shouldn't matter over much. The Pistoliers are going to be quite the annoyance here, but the piles of infantry a little bit less so. Are we in March stance? No, and plus we still have 7 turns of Curse of Cannibalism, which was quite nice, go.
Embrace the hunger. Seek the moon. Feed the more.
Alrighty, here we go. I always love that first episode feeling as the battles sort of ramp up. We are now up to a full stack of enemies against us, and, well, outnumbers us fairly considerably as we are not at that full stack as yet. I'm gonna send our hunter forward to chuck a few of those harpoons at the enemy. Kind of a waste against cavalry. Ooh, and that was a big volley into the hunter, actually taking about maybe 20% of his HP. Alright, this was a terrible idea. I was hoping that the harpoon would be big enough to sort of travel through ranks of cavalry and kill multiple of them with every volley, similar to a sort of cannon fire, but it doesn't appear to be the case, on top of the hunter just getting staggered by the Pistoliers, which means he's gonna break and we're gonna book it on out of there. Alright, well, that didn't work, but at least we tested it out. Just gonna save the hunter and its harpoons for bigger targets in the future, while in the meantime our first summoned unit of Gorgers are summoned on top of and annoy the enemy Pistoliers while we try to close the distance with them. I guess we're just going to close the distance with as many of them as possible now. The Cauldron gets tipped on top of some of the crossbows and handguns, doing about 25% damage to each, which is not all that crazy, but it's not nothing. And you gotta keep in mind, Skrag does have abilities that are reliant on him getting kills, so we gotta try to get him as many kills as fast as possible. So, wherever possible, Bone Crusher spam, his little mini Vortex Cauldron spam, and as soon as we get it, Great Maw as well, or the Maw, whatever the big explosion spell that the Ogres have. I can never remember if it's Great Maw or just Maw. It's Maw something. You're not my real Maw. Anyway, the Ogres have closed the distance with the swords and, well, the entire main enemy line. We do still have our Gorgers moving in the background, but they're about to get a big charge down the hill and into the enemy's rear flanks. Skrag, in the meantime, is fighting the enemy lord, who should really be terrified of this guy coming at you. And has no chance, admittedly. And the Gorgers have arrived now as well. There we go. And again, no devastating flanker as yet, but they will have it as soon as Skrag reaches level 12. I gotta remind myself to save skill points at some point. Maybe like rank 6 or something. It depends on what critical things we have. Man, I got spoiled by the really good blue line that Skjoldun and the Winterheart Elves have in the Winterheart campaign. And because they have a really useful blue line. Ogres comparatively have a terrible blue line, or at the very least the start of the blue line, which kind of makes it feel like it's useless. I really don't want to waste 4 points to get to the sort of second tier of blue line skills. But anyway, I digress. The bounce back has shifted to about 90% in our favor, and it's just a matter of time. Ogres versus base Empire infantry is, generally speaking, a pretty terrible matchup for the Empire. In the early game especially, until the enemy gets significant numbers of crossbows and handguns and artillery pieces. And this is certainly not one of those cases. There's a lot of dwarfs near this particular location, and I'm willing to bet that as soon as the border princes are knocked out, Beric Var will take advantage of us being far away from our territories to declare war on us. And all those quarrelers and heavily armored dwarfs will be a lot more difficult to deal with than the poor little manlings. And speaking of the little manlings, there will be little of them left as the army has shattered, and we will use our speed to run them down and devour them all. A bloody end for some guy whose name I've already forgotten, and a rather nice fight for us. Still, definitely credit where it's due to the enemy army for actually attacking us rather than sitting back and waiting in their settlement. Skrag, nearly 50,000 damage, very good for a tier 3 lord, or a level 3 lord rather. In the early game, solid work out of the bruiser with 4.5k, a little bit less so out of the hunter, but he got nearly killed off by those pistoliers, so perhaps unsurprising. Our ogre bulls, interestingly, our regular ogre bulls out-damaged both the iron fists and the ogre bulls with dual weapons, which you wouldn't think would happen against the infantry piles, but the regular unit of ogre bulls, as I recall, was in the center of our formation, whereas these other guys were very much not. Even outdid the butcher, or the gorgers rather, but they were, you know, taking their time to flank. 2,000 gold versus 250 meat. Both are decent options, but we need to recruit, and I fear that that means we have to forego the meat and take the money. Oh well. Man-eaters with ogre pistols? We can unlock those guys fairly early. Recruitment cost reduction for nobblers and pigback riders. Hello. Oh, it's for Lord's Camp, eh? Well, nonetheless, we can just at least fill up the army with them. Alright, let's give us a read. Turn up something weird, boss. A bunch of stinking nobblers hiding in a cave, only their noses ain't so big. Don't seem quite so dumb as the usual kind, neither. Of course, they'll do what we tell them once we've knocked them about a bit, or we could just scoff them. So basically, these guys found some regular gobos, yeah. That's pretty funny. Alright, enslave. And powder guts, man-eaters, these guys are really good, but I'm willing to bet they're going to be like 500 gold per turn upkeep. 600 gold per turn upkeep, which is a lot, but they would be a nice ringer unit to have in the very early game. I'm surprised that these guys are unlockable at rank 4, though. It's almost odd. You know what I mean? I think there's no Gorger unit. That's a Regiment of Renown? Huh, yeah, Ogres are pretty light on the Regiments of Renown. I do imagine that we'll get more someday. We got several more turns, meaning if we send some meat to these guys... Alright, you know what? Gragbat, send some of your meat to Targog. In fact, send most of your meat to Targog. Like so. I'm a Torca camp, whatever. Then, this will allow us to upgrade the Trapper Huts building here, which is going to be nice and critical for those nobblers. Now, out of curiosity, I was wondering whether the cheapness of recruiting from a Torca camp would allow us to more cheaply recruit them from it with any of the nearby lords, but unfortunately I guess that's not the case. Oh well. You butchers, you're staying in Skraggy's army for now. Skraggy, you're gonna proceed to Zvorak. Does it take... Oh, I was gonna say pack up this camp, but you know what? I think we'll just fight this particular fight without the camp. I'd rather just build this up while we can, so... No camp buffs here. I'll pop Groth into your army in a moment. Like so, Pyrrhic victory, eh? I don't see how that would be particularly Pyrrhic, but I guess we will find out. We will, however... Come on now. In you go, buddy. Actually, another reason to keep everybody with Skrag is because... Oh, you got the Nobbler Kicker trait. You, Mr. Ingredient Taker with Ravenous Hunger, should actually probably be in a Nobbler army. Immunity to Psychology and Nobbler Kicker would be extremely nice for a Nobbler heavy army. Unless the other guy got the same thing. What do we have here? Bone Crusher, Wound Action. You also have Nobbler Kicker. Oh, that means we are free to send you to that other army. Although, actually, you wouldn't be in that other army because that wouldn't be our Nobbler army, though for now our army would be Nobblers. Win a battle with 10 Nobbler units in our army. Working on it. Don't care for Long Strider. I don't dislike the bounce spell Bone Crusher, though it is only one use, so we probably won't get too much mileage out of it. Anyway, as I was saying, we're out of time, and unfortunately I'm going to have to call this first episode here. Next time we will have a nice little battle to Zvorak to start the day, and most likely quickly move to wipe out the Border Princes over the course of the next episode before looping back around and seeing if we can't get to Ungrel Stoneheart and kill him. within those 14 turns. And we may just build up another big pile of Nobblers to put into Gragbat's army and send him around that way. Might still be able to do it even if Skrag is not able to go that far. But anyway, stay tuned for more Ogres. Don't forget to leave those likes in the comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.